Ranking the best NBA player from every shoe brand. Landing a prize athlete in the NBA is never easy. While athletes have plenty of options in their back pocket, so do these shoe companies. While NBA scouts look for the next biggest star, shoe companies scout too, as they look for the next Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Nike's stock quickly exploded once they landed Michael Jordan. While the Jordan brand was marketed, Nike started seeing ridiculous revenue from sales. However, Nike also lost some big-name athletes to other shoe brands who are a little smaller in the game currently. Each athlete seems excited with their relationship to their respective shoe brands and look forward to a lifelong relationship in the future. Keep watching to see who the best NBA players are from every shoe brand. Nike. Kyrie Irving makes $11 million per year from endorsements, which includes his Nike shoe deal. He's the former Rookie of the Year and one-time champion with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's got a signature shoe that is one of the league's best sellers. Kyrie didn't have the richest Nike contract, nor is he the best player that Nike has ever brought on. They've had Kobe Bryant, who made $16 million a year from endorsements that included his shoe deal with Nike. Kobe will go down as one of the most skilled athletes of all time. His shoes have been flying off the shelves in the US and China for over a decade. Unfortunately, due to Bryant's death, we may not see many more Kobe shoes. There are two players that make a ridiculous amount of money from Nike with their shoe deals. Kevin Durant brings in $25 million per year from Nike. He currently has an extension with Nike that will last for 10 seasons. The contract started in 2014, which was rumored to be worth $300 million. Of course, the number one player for Nike is LeBron James. He brings in over $50 million from endorsements thanks to being a 4-time MVP and a 3-time champion. He has a lifelong contract with Nike and is the most recognizable athlete in the world for Nike. LeBron has made $272 million in his career. He's actually set to make another $117 million by the time his current contract with the Los Angeles Lakers ends in 2022. In a published biography of James LeBron Inc., The Making of a Billion-Dollar Athlete, ESPN's Brian Windhorst wrote about LeBron's financial success in his career. James made smart investments and has become one of the wealthiest athletes in the world to this day. According to Forbes, James was the world's 8th highest paid athlete last year, as he made $89 million. Only $36 million of that came from salary. The other $53 million was from endorsements. James is currently estimated to have a net worth of $450 million. James was drafted first overall in the 2003 NBA draft by the Cleveland Cavaliers right out of high school. Every shoe company was eager to sign James to be one of the biggest endorsement contracts ever. Famous celebrities would literally attend his Catholic high school games, and he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 17 years old. Every shoe executive was desperate for James to wear their brand. James had offers from Adidas at $60 million at plus 2.51%, Nike at plus 0.51% at $87 million, and Reebok at a ridiculous $115 million, per Brian Windhorst. At the time, Nike was the leading shoe brand in the NBA, coming off a partnership with Michael Jordan that did very well. James said he always had dreams of wearing the swoosh, but he knew he'd have to give up $28 million to do so. Reebok tried to add James to their list of sponsored athletes that included Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, and Venus Williams. James sided with who he felt was a better long-term partner in Nike, over a higher initial offer from Reebok. LeBron James' Nike deal is a lifetime contract, estimated to be worth $1 billion. Jordan. Next, we'll look at Nike's Jordan brand. The brand is owned by Nike. The brand has athletes like Russell Westbrook, Zion Williamson, and of course, Michael Jordan. Westbrook is an 8-time All-Star and won the 2017 MVP. He had his first signature shoe released in 2018 after the MVP season. He makes $12 million annually on endorsements, and the Jordan brand is one of those brands that helps him reach that $12 million annually. Companies flock to sign Zion Williamson, just like they did for LeBron James. Zion signed a $75 million contract for 5 years with the Jordan brand. He beat LeBron's rookie deal and signed the deal before he even stepped foot on an NBA hardwood floor. Zion already makes $15 million from endorsements with the Jordan brand's help. We'll see if Zion Williamson can reach that type of stardom. Either way, Jordan's still the best player in his own brand, and that will never change. Yes, Michael Jordan is the best player from the Jordan brand, obviously. He's a 5-time MVP with 6 championships. He made $145 million in endorsements in 2019, with $130 million coming from the Nike Jordan brand. Michael Jordan has been collecting Nike Jordan paychecks since 1984. Jordan will forever be remembered as the signature shoe king years and decades after he's played. In 1984, the Jordan brand was introduced and finally marketed by Nike in 1985 as the Air Jordan 1. In 2018, Nike revenue from the Jordan brand line hit nearly $2.9 billion, the company said, from kids who weren't even alive to watch Jordan in his prime. This was an all-time gamble that almost never happened. Jordan laughed at the Air Jordan name, hated the look at the shoe and almost skipped the meeting with Nike. He didn't even want to fool with Nike, said Roland Lazenby, author of the 2014 book Michael Jordan, The Life. Jordan's mother, Dolores, Lazenby said, was part of a family of former North Carolina sharecroppers who believed strongly in economic empowerment, insisted that Jordan go visit with Nike, and Nike gave him an unbelievable deal, a 25% royalty, and it would take years before someone else in the shoe industry would get that, he said. In 1984, the NBA had a couple of big names, like Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and John Stockton. Nike didn't care for the other stars. They threw all their money at Jordan, Lazenby said. It took plenty of people to convince Phil Knight, one of Nike's co-founders, to give all this money to Jordan. Phil Knight was mildly interested at best, Lazenby said, but Vaccaro was relentless, and he soon forged an allegiance with Rob Strasser and Peter Moore. They were both at Nike, and they were essential guys in driving the whole Jordan idea forward. The third intangible, Lazenby said, was Jordan's play. He was the guy who could fly, Lazenby said. Ultimately, it was his competitiveness that wowed global audiences. Jordan still can't believe how many people want his shoes to this day. He never could have imagined this. First, I thought it was a fad, Lazenby said the normally reticent Jordan told him in 2014, but it's far greater now than it used to be. The numbers are just outrageous. It's ridiculous to think that 3 Jordan brand shoes remain among the current 10 top-selling athletic shoes. What you have here is a once-in-a-generation athlete who has transcended his sport and has become ingrained not only in the sports world, but in popular culture as well, said sports marketing expert George Belch. Jordan is a kind of epitome of cool in many ways, Belch said. His influence just seems to go from one generation to the next. He played before they were even born, yet he becomes this very trustworthy, almost timeless brand image that really just seems to represent winning and excellence and everything else. Can Zion become what Jordan is for Jordan's brand? Li Ning. Most of us have never heard of the shoe company called Li Ning. You'd be amazed to know that Dwayne Wade is one of the only players to sign with Chinese company Li Ning. This deal originated in 2012. He developed his Way of Wade shoes, and they're now part of a lifetime deal with Li Ning that was finalized in 2018. In an interview with Bleacher Report, Wade spoke about his lifetime deal. For me, they committed to me from the beginning, Wade shared. When we did our first sit down, they committed to doing something that hasn't been done often. There's only one Michael Jordan out here. They were committed to really trying to build something from a global standpoint with my brand. I was 30 years old at the time. I can't say it was something I was thinking about coming into that summer. It was something that they had already envisioned. I was amazed that without them even knowing me and just watching me from afar, this was a part of their thinking. For me, it was like, this is where I want to be. I want to be able to be with a brand that really believes in what I can bring, not only to them, but to a country, to a community that's very important to them here in China. That's one of the things that Li Ning makes sure we talk about. How are we going to make sure we're moving the game forward with these young athletes in China? It comes from a basketball standpoint, not just sneakers. Adidas. James Harden is currently the best player that has signed with Adidas. Harden led the league in scoring in 2018 and was named the MVP in that same season. He was already eyed by plenty of shoe companies before and was signed with Nike. However, he waited for the right deal and believed that Nike wasn't the best fit. In 2015, he signed a 13-year deal with Adidas worth $200 million. It was thought that James Harden ended up leaving Nike for Adidas because of the $200 million deal he received. However, James Harden let everyone know that money wasn't the only reason he elected to side with Adidas. Harden said it was about being able to be branded and having a voice on how he's marketed and represented, which is something he felt was not being done at Nike. Harden went on to say, just everything, however I want it, I have a say-so. I have a voice that can and will be heard. I have a pretty strong voice, whether it's designing my shoe, designing my clothing, just everything that the brand has to offer. I'll definitely voice my opinion. He continued, it's very special. It's always great when you have a brand that wants you and will do whatever it takes to get you and market you the right way. This is another opportunity for me and Adidas to grow as one. I'm excited for the opportunity, and I will definitely. With Adidas, Harden is the lead man, and he likes it that way. He wants to be the center of attention, and he's getting his wish with a notable brand that cares for him. Under Armour. Steph Curry has really helped Under Armour grow their company in the shoe and basketball game. Under Armour had been aggressively making their way into the shoe market in both basketball and baseball. Curry is a 2-time MVP and has already won 3 championships while making $45 million in endorsements in 2019. A little less than 2 years ago, Steph Curry almost ended his relationship with Under Armour. Julie Cresswell and Kevin Draper wrote about this in the New York Times. Quote, in the summer of 2018, 2 top Under Armour executives traveled to the West Coast on a critical mission. Kevin Kevin Plank, the sports apparel company's founder and chief executive, and Patrick Frisk, its president and chief operating officer, needed to persuade Stephen Curry, the Golden State Warriors star and the company's highest profile endorser, not to leave the brand. Mr. Plank was unhappy that Mr. Curry, whose endorsement deal paid him millions of dollars a year, would rarely wear Under Armour clothing to NBA games. Mr. Curry was upset that sales of the signature Curry 3 shoe had been weak. At the meeting, participants found a solution that would showcase just how much Mr. Curry meant to the company. Mr. Plank and Mr. Frisk agreed to build a separate business around him, one reminiscent of what Nike had done for Michael Jordan 2 decades before. The company brought on the former executive who had overseen the creation of the Jordan brand at Nike to run the Curry brand, and promised Mr. Curry much more involvement in the development of his shoes. Mr. Curry decided to remain, and a crisis was averted. The two-time NBA MVP let it be known that he would part ways with Under Armour if he felt like it was the right thing to do. "If there was a situation where I can look at myself in the mirror and say they don't have my best intentions, they don't have the right attitude about taking care of people," he told Thompson. "If I can say the leadership is not in line with my core values, then there is no amount of money, there is no platform I wouldn't jump off of if it wasn't in line with who I am. So that's a decision I will make every single day when I wake up. If something is not in line with what I'm about, then yeah, I definitely need to take a stance in that respect." Curry helped Under Armour recruit Joel Embiid to the brand in August 2018, but was unable to recruit Luka Doncic to the Jordan brand. Curry's contract with Under Armour runs through 2024 at about $20 million annually. It'll be interesting if Curry will leave Under Armour after finally being heavily marketed with the company since this incident. It seems like things are fine and Curry will stay put. We'll see in 2024 what Curry ends up doing.